Okay. Glitch Reaper here. I'm starting on the old screen this time. Partially because I kind of like to... Oh my gosh, really? Right now? There's a phone call. Never mind, I think somebody got it. Anyhow, as I was going to say, I'm starting on the old screen just to show something. This is literally the option screen. There's not much extra video settings and sound settings and all this. Just showing how limited it was back then. This was the entire control setup for the whole game. Yeah, I mean, sure, mods add more, but just think about this. Even default Minecraft has more controls than this right now. This is this is ridiculously small compared with the modern control setup. I'm just a little extra bit of nostalgia for you here when things were a little simpler. At least you could still technically set your keys and stuff. But I'm just showing you that things aren't quite how they used to be for both good and bad. You know, it's just people seem to think that well, this is why I'm doing this. Super nostalgia here, folks. Now, some slight other worlds that may or may not be future, past or present may be here. But anyhow. Here's what I was wanting to start off with. My old... what do you know? There's a skeleton calmly burning in the... Yeah, thank you. Did he drop anything? I'm wondering. It would be kind of nice if he dropped something. Answer is no. Anyhow, I was going to show that this is my first stronghold I found and how I marked it. I did it with a giant, well, not really gigantic, but you know, a fair-sized arrow made out of endstone and extremely well lit because, again, vanilla options. But just making out of endstone says, hey, the only way to get endstone is from the end. So therefore, the way to the end is over here. So that way, in case I was running around, I'd be able to find it easily. And I did. I was running around looking for something completely different whenever I refound this area. I lost my coordinate sheet, but I didn't lose how I used to set my reminders. And again, I have no idea what is up with this game audio. And I don't mean like in general, I mean specifically from this old version. I think whenever you go back this far, it has technical difficulties. I think it's because they totally redid the sound engine and it does not know how to work anymore. I think, like, even without actively recording, it's just like, nope. I don't get that. I have sound volume actually set up. It's just not doing anything. Anyhow, here's a bit of my quandary. The achievement system back then used to be a lot more, edgy. Like, it used to decide not to feel like it a lot and just totally goof up and say, no, I'm just gonna revert every last thing you did. So whenever I came back into this world, even though I had been to it more than a few times before, obviously, it decided that it wanted to crush my achievements. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe before I actually set that beacon down, I want to re-earn some of the achievements just so I can get that one, if that's even here. I try and remember if they had the Wither-related achievements even at this point, or if that was later. I think they did, and I think this was already where some of them had to extend off. But I could be wrong, because it has been a long time. Like, a really long time. Now, some of these I can earn quickly because I had a few backup materials. And I'd like to do that so that I can lead myself directly into the end and out. Because, as I said, this is one of my first strongholds. So I'd like to kind of show off how I kind of did the first fight by kind of indicating the weird chaos left behind from how I did it. So I'm just going to re-earn a few things. Acquire hardware. I'm going to leave some of these things in a... Well, I can in a backup chest. I know I put one just down here a moment ago. Where did I put that? Ah, here we go. This is one of... This was just, like, even barely a base camp. This is, like, literally, like, me. A few backup things I had in my ender chest, thank goodness. Thank you. In fact, I'm probably going to need to actually use this obsidian to set up a portal here. I never had set a nether portal here. I was originally going to like network a lot of things through the nether. I think in this location I just didn't get around to it. Interesting thing about how achievements work even back then is some of them, the requirements aren't what they entirely would indicate. Like, acquire hardware, yes, you have to get iron ingots directly out of a furnace, because you have to normally smelt them first and you remove them. Well, if carefully set, you can partially bypass that. But with diamonds, you don't have to actually mine them. You just gather them from the ground. Yay, diamonds. That's like, yeah. All I did was grab a diamond I already had. Thank you. And I did find where my beacon was. It was in my inner chest system. Also, thank you very much. Now, as for trying to, I think I'll make my nether portal around here pretty obvious if I can. And, you know, it's almost spaced like how I'd need it for a nether portal. I mean, I'm just thinking, maybe I should? I have a few, do I have some dirt? Because I kind of yeah. I would kind of build that. Do I have some other blocks? A little bit of cobblestone. Bit of sand, because I kind of need to shape this at least a little bit. I mean, I got a couple of buckets, but I only have so much lava down there, and it would kind of subtract from the whole thing a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself another portal in the usual arrangement. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and ignite it with the one that apparently I'd had for just this kind of purposes, just in case I needed another portal. There we go. And I'll just knock that corner off, because I don't really need that there. I just needed it for positioning. Okay, I need that portal just so that I can get the achievement again. It is kind of weird when they decide to reset on you, like, several times. It is how it used to be, so there are some things that have just... actually, I'll keep those blocks. I think I need a few. I'll leave a little... I mean, this is just kind of a quick show-off, so I don't think I'll need to worry about it too much. But yeah, there's some things that have definitely improved. Like, they finally fixed the achievement system. That was just beautiful. I loved it when they finally got rid of that whole issue of things. Whoa. Did I actually connect with... Oh. Really? One of you somehow got in here. Is this the one with... Oh dear. Was able to connect all the way back to Monument Trees. Forgot it was... that location was technically within range. At least I've temporarily rememorized where that spot is. So that's not going to be too much of an effort to get there. Technically. And again, I wind up... I'm going to have to reharvest that at some point, just so I can get myself a... Oh, one of the arrows fell through. Yeah, they added entity transfer support in somewhere around 1.4. So therefore, by this time, it was working out perfectly. So entities of any sort, including items, would go through. And some people used to use this as a method of mass storage. Because what they do is they'd have a stream of water push the items into a nether portal where it would stockpile it on the other side, so that as long as it was in the buffer or not fully loaded, they could just go to the nether later and pick it all up. Okay, I'm going to need to check my coordinates here, because I need to get to a pretty extensive area from here. I think it was... Yep, not that way. Okay, it's this way. But anyhow, as I was saying, people used to like stockpile humongous volumes of items in the nether by literally just shoving them through a nether portal. But then there became all sorts of other ways to deal with mass transport, and it was no longer necessary. And you know, I could theoretically have rode that pig. I really could have. I have some saddles somewhere or not, but I could have rode a pig there. I don't know. This might be a little too rough terrain for a pig. But yeah, I was really happy just when they added more renewability to obtaining melons, like better opportunities and stuff, or at least more opportunities to start getting your melons going, because I kind of started running on melons after that because it was just really easy to grow. So yeah. So me having close to a stack of melons is not untypical of how I used to do things. In fact, it happened a lot. I know it's this way because I think it's at minus 720, minus 320, I think. Either way, it'll become very visible when I'm very close because, again, I made it very apparent. But right now I'm just going over the frozen landscape trying to find my location again because I failed to estimate the fact that it would connect so easily because it was within the 800 or so block range because of how things scale through the nether. In fact, that is why I was going to do a more extensive nether portal system back there. I think I was building it. I'm trying to remember if I got it to that one location or not. I may have, and then something may have happened, and then it may have reverted, and then back and forth, and all sorts of stuff. I'm not 100% certain on that. But I will try to make an easy path to one of my locations if I haven't already. It'll take a lot of mining if it's not already done. Because there was one location that I really want to show off, but it was like a really far distance away from my main area. So it was something that was kind of along the lines of, it was a specialty location, but because back then certain structures were more necessary. It was in 1.7.10, I think. I mean, like, really, like, 1.7.10, like, not even the previous versions of 1.7 cycle, where you were able to get witches to show up anywhere in your world. Like, you didn't necessarily need to find a witch hut anymore. So, I had a special location where I had a witch hut, and it allowed me to brew up a lot of potions and stuff there. So, I use it as my main major brewing facility because I'd beat a lot of witches, I'd get myself a lot of bottles and stuff, and other brewing supplies, and I'd take advantage right there, and I'd use it to just brew up lots of stuff. And it was a good distance away, though, because I had already started the world, so I needed to find a fresh location to convert into a witch farm. So I had to go a decent distance, and I'm trying to remember if I actually did connect it by nether portal, if I was just using my horse, which I cannot locate, or what happened. Because it's been a while. Again, this is why I'm re-exploring, rather than just exploring. So it is kind of a special thing, and it is getting late out because of, yeah. I do have my spawn point currently set at Monument Tree. I am a considerable distance. What, is it this way? Yeah, it would be this way. I was going to say I was a little off on the Z from what I remembered from my last... Oh, there it is. I literally shot right around it. Luckily, I made sure it was well lit, so it was easy to spot. So thank goodness. Thank myself on that one. Okay, and now I can do a few little tricks to work this out and zip off back to Monument Tree in another way, because I have my spawn point set there, and the thing about the end is it always sets you back to your last spawn point. Did I set no, I set this right in here, so I'm good. I'm good. Ding! Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Another thing about how achievements work back then that's not exactly what it says is Into Fire says to relieve a blaze of its rod. You don't need to beat one, you just need to pick one up from the ground. And now let me go down all the way to my stronghold, and yeah, I probably had a deposit of something here that I mined out and then replaced it with endstone. This area was intersected by a cave. Thing is, back in this time, there was only 3 strongholds per world. So, if a cave or some other structure interrupted this, you were pretty darn out of business. Let me tell you, you were just way overdue for going, no! Because every last one of those that was cut through by another structure was lost to you. Like, completely and utterly lost. And it would be like a cave or a mine shaft could overrun one, and if it cut right through here, that was it, because you wouldn't. There's no way even now for a player to build interportal frames or craft them or anything. At least not without mods. So if all three are down, that's it. Game over. Well, actually, you just can't get to the end of the game, so a little bit of a different story. But anyhow, nowadays, past 1.9, anything past that has a tremendous number. So they made it mathematically almost impossible to have a world that was unable to explore the end. And part of that's because they've expanded it since then. So whenever we go back here, please remember the end was a lot simpler. So was the dragon fight. A lot of other things were simpler about it. And see, did I actually expand my achievements to indicate? No, it's not doing that. Maybe that really was added later, because I'm about to do this achievement, and if it doesn't go by to the whole like wither stuff, then well, that'd be the end of that one. Kind of, at least in terms of that line. But yeah, again, everything about achievements resetting themselves. Oh, this little note. Whenever I found this place, there is a spawner right over there that I was using to, well, I just always kind of wondered whether or not I wanted to turn it into a farm or not. But I had closer ones, so I just kind of kept that one in reserve in case something happened to my closer spawners of that type. I think that is a skeleton spawner. So that was one I kept in reserve, I believe. But the way that I made this shaft, knew right where it needed to be, is at this time it was so much easier to get long duration random x-rays through the ground as well as purposeful ones. So it was easy for me to, like, once I had the location like figured out from doing Eyes of Ender, I could look through the ground either randomly or with one of the classic x-ray machines at the time and exploit that little glitch, and then I'd be able to look around and estimate where it was. I used to be really good at that. Right now, I think I'm probably pretty rusty because I did it again recently, and I was way off several times in a row. So I know I got rusty at that technique. Of course, it's partially because they've corrected a lot of how that works, so it's not something that you can rely on very much these days. Anyhow, time for me to pop in, and let me see, do I have enough blocks in case I need to build an additional bridge? Because there's a little dynamic about this people tend to forget, and that's that the very initial platform you go onto is always rebuilt. So I think I'm not sure if it will or will not connect directly. I'm trying to remember where I was building my bridge to it from, or if I had, because it's been a while. So I don't know if I don't remember if it connected directly to the mainland or if I had to build from it. So let's do this. Aha! Achievement obtained. See, this is how you know that you've actually been there first. Because I have snow golems running around. It's kind of a sign that this isn't your first time here, because those aren't natural. I have some snow, which is expendable. A good thing that I live in a frostville type environment, because that means that I have plenty of snow to build with. So it is basically free. All I gotta do is shovel for it. How I did this fight originally was really hilarious. Because I knew the Endermen would be all over the place, as a method of distracting them, so that I didn't have to worry about having a... I'm trying to remember if I originally had a pumpkin or not. But anyhow, well, I know I had pumpkins because I built snow golems. But what I did is I built a lot of snow golems really fast, and they distract the Endermen and keep them away from me. And then what would happen is I'd, like, shovel up the snow that they left behind and have a lot of snowballs of my own, and I'd throw the snowballs upward to blast the end crystals, which is why there's none left here, as I originally used snowballs so I could conserve my arrows for focusing on the Ender Dragon. So the fight was incredibly chaotic because it was loaded with a ton of snow golems helping out and distracting Endermen while I was dealing with the Ender Dragon. So an interesting way of having a party with you without technically having another player. Are there any of the... yeah, there's none of those left. Now, what I'm wondering is, now that I'm looking at it, why is this here? Is this what one of the pillars was that I shaved all the way down for some serious obsidian? I don't think so. I don't think I have that much obsidian anywhere, unless I stockpiled it somewhere and I forgot where I put it. which is very possible. It's been a while. I think whenever I looked at how long ago it was that I'd actually played this world the last time, I think it had been 3 years. So yeah, I mean, I always remembered it. I always really loved it, but it had been 3 years since I came back. Of course, there's also other possibilities for why this is a platform, but I can't think of any off the bat. I really think this is one I shaved down, but it looks a little too square. Well, let me look over here. Is it? Are any of these really that square? Well, this one is. Okay. Maybe it was a really short one. Maybe I just got some obsidian off of it because it was a short one, because they used to also be a lot more variable. Like, this is a decent one. That's a semi-short one. I think I shaved the smallest tower. I think that's what I did. I think I shaved the smallest tower that I could find and just went to town on it with a diamond pickaxe. You know, just chewed right through it and just made myself, like... I think that's how I got a lot of the, ender chests for my various bases, is I just chewed through a pillar that was particularly square. Well, that one's not very square. This one is. So I guess, well, they were variable even in their sub-shape, I guess. Wow, talk about memories coming back and reminders of how things used to be, because substructure has really changed. And does this thing even... Oh, yeah, it definitely has a base area. So, yeah... Yeah, so this is a pretty historic fight that I did. I brought in an army of snow golems. I think it was the equivalent of like 32 of them originally. I think I had like a full stack of snow and a half a stack of pumpkins, and just went crazy with them. While the because the Ender Dragon didn't quite always charge. She used to fight differently. She doesn't always like charge right at you. Sometimes she'll kind of be lazy for a while and not really pay attention. So during that time, I'd just make a ton of snow golems. Then when I was actually serious, I'd gun down all the pillars in crystals. You see, this one's fairly short. It's also it also looks, yeah, it's kind of octagonal. I mean, this is kind of the base design that I use for some of my towers whenever I build with them. Oh, and I was making an in-stone wall so I wouldn't get knocked off the side or fall off while I was busy fighting the dragon. I remember that now. I was also running around making this wall. Didn't build the whole thing by the time I was able to knock her out, because obviously it doesn't go all the way around. Otherwise, I would have been complete. I went some of the distance around, but it was a crazy fight. I loved it a lot. It was like, yeah. But that was like my first Ender Dragon fight. Now things have gotten where you can't... Well, you could use some of the same strategy, I guess. But it's gotten where a lot of things are a lot crazier now in all sorts of ways, whether you're doing modded or vanilla. I mean, these snow golems would just get wasted by the new Ender Dragon because of her lingering effects. Oh, how much they've improved old Jean since then. And that's why I like calling her the improved Ender Dragon these days, is because she's way stronger than she used to be. And because of those lingering effects, if they were just casually walking around, I don't think they'd pay attention to it. And snow golems may be good against Endermen, but they are not good against certain environmental issues. I mean, I think they just wander in and just get wasted. So you will not get this much snow coverage in the end these days. But to be perfectly fair, I did turn the end into a winter wonderland, which is kind of appropriate for the time I'm actually filming this. Just saying. I mean, if you're watching this in summer, just think of some of my first world, both the Frostfell environment around Monument Tree and around here, and think, it's good to think cool sometimes. If you're watching this in the winter, think, wouldn't it be nice if the winter sports were working well? Or maybe I'd like to do some. You know, just whatever way. And how did that get there? Seriously, that is sand, not in stone. Did I leave a piece of sand for some reason? Maybe I used sand to get up here originally. Maybe they moved all my sand. Was that what I did? Oh, this is how I originally got the Ender Dragon egg. Because I never really did like the piston method that much, and I have seen some serious glitches with some mods that it'll blow you away if you dare. So, since then, so I'm grateful that that I did that method. I mean, sure, vanilla has never had a problem with the piston method, but gosh, I'm glad I got used to it whenever I did this world, because if I had used the other method later, I would have screwed myself over several times. Because, oh my gosh, I mean that can be pretty wasteful. Well, I'm also kind of grateful this one little piece of sand to survive from before, because I can use this to get my way up and out. And, oh, apparently I had 2 pieces of sand. I'm trying to remember if they can move snow block, though. Because if they can't, I could just pop. There, yeah. I do have a shovel, so I can make more whenever I need to. You know, I might do something special. We don't have this opportunity very often. But I may just hop in here and let the credits roll. I may even try to narrate them. Haven't really done that before. Do I have the ability to do so with my little issue? That has also changed since then. I might be able to. Also remember, as I was saying, a lot of things about the end have changed. This is all there is to the end. Like this island, this is all the Endstone you will ever have. So if you want to make multiple major castles out of Endstone, you will eventually drain this one mega island, and that will be it. I mean, you will run out. It is not renewable. At least in later versions, there's so much more of it where that is not technically a problem. Not technically, anyhow. I mean, for me, I'm always a little concerned, but at least it's not as much of an issue in this version, because now you have outer islands too. So if you want some, you can just get rid of some of the outer islands that you don't think is particularly necessary for getting around. So let's enjoy a very special version of the credits. Now remember, this is a game that you can play after the credits, so I will be showing off more of my original world even after we do this. I mean, this is normally how you end off a series, but remember, I went through so many versions with this. I don't even remember which version I was in whenever I first fought the Ender Dragon. I think it was super early. Like, I think I may have even done it even at 1.2.5 whenever I was just starting out. I mean, this may have been one of the first things I did. Yeah, I think it's something like that. I think I even put in that inner chest later over there. So, yeah, I think I didn't even have that in my little splotchy little camp. Okay, let's do the credits. Whoa! Okay, time for epic end credits, and I got the achievement. So later on, I will figure out if that goes on to the whole beacon thing, or if I'm just going to be adding a beacon to the top of that pyramid. I'll have that ceremony later as part of another episode. Special credits. Minecraft. I see the player, you mean. Glitch Reaper. Yes, it'll always insert your name to just right place. Yes, take care. It has reached a higher level now. It can read our thoughts. That doesn't matter. It thinks we are part of the game. I like this player. It played well. It did not give up. True, I came up with quite a strategy. It is reading our thoughts as though they were words on a screen. That is how it chooses to imagine many things when it is deep in the dream of a game. Words make a wonderful interface, very flexible, and less terrifying than staring at the reality behind the screen. Oh, this is whole very philosophical. They used to hear voices before players could read, back in the days when those who did not play called the players witches and warlocks, and players dreamed they flew through the air on sticks powered by demons. What did this player dream? This player dreamed of sunlight and trees, of fire and water. It dreamed it created, and it dreamed it destroyed. It dreamed it hunted, and was hunted. It dreamed of shelter. Ah, the original interface, 1,000,000 years old, and it still works. But what true structure did this player create in the reality behind the screen? It worked with 1,000,000 others to sculpt a true world in the fold of and created a for and a yeah, I know. It cannot read that thought. Hey, I translated there. It's just hard for you to pronounce. No, it has not yet reached the highest level. That it must achieve in the long dream of life. not the short dream of a game. Does it know that we love it, that the universe is kind? Sometimes, through the noise of its thoughts, it hears the universe, yes. But there are times it is sad, in the long dream. It creates worlds that have no summer, and it shivers under a black sun, and it makes its sad creation for reality. To cure it of sorrow would destroy it. The sorrow is part of its own private task. We cannot interfere. Sometimes, when they are deep in dreams, I want to tell them. They are building true worlds in reality. Sometimes I want to tell them of their importance to the universe. Sometimes, when they have not made a true connection in a while, I want to help them to speak the word they fear. It reads our thoughts. Sometimes I do not care. Sometimes I wish to tell them. This world you take for truth is merely and I wish to tell them that they are in the they see so little of reality in their long dream, and yet they play the game. But it would be so easy to tell them. Too strong for this dream. To tell them how to live is to prevent them living. Lick lips. I will not tell the player how to live. The player is growing restless. I will tell the player a story. But not the truth. No, a story that contains the truth safely, in a cage of words, not the naked truth that can burn over any distance. Give it a body, again. Yeah, I must adjust headset. Yes, player. Hey, I thought you was going to insert name here. Okay, here we go. Use its name. Glitch Reaper, player of games. Well, yeah, I played a lot of things other than just Minecraft, but it is the thing I tend to focus on here. Maybe later, though. Good. Take a breath. Now, take another. Feel air in your lungs. Yet your limbs return. Let your limbs return. Yes, move your fingers. Have a body again, under gravity. In air. Respawn the long dream. There you are, your body touching the universe again, at every point. As though you were separate things. As though we are separate things. Who are we? Once we were called the spirit of the mountain, Father Sun, Mother Moon, ancestral spirits, animal spirits, jinn, ghosts, the green man, then gods, demons, angels, poltergeists, aliens, extraterrestrials, leptons, quarks. The words change, we do not change. Lips. We are the universe. We are everything you think isn't you. You are looking at us now, through your skin and your eyes. And why does the universe touch your skin, and throw light on you, to see you, player, to know you, and to be known? I shall tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a player. The player was you, Glitch Reaper. Sometimes it thought itself human, on a thin crust of a spinning globe of molten rock. The ball of molten rock circled a ball of blazing gas that was 330,000 times more massive than it. They were so far apart that light took 8 minutes to cross the gap. The light was information from a star, and it could burn your skin from 150 million kilometers away. Sometimes the player dreamed it was a miner, on the surface of a world that was flat and infinite. The sun was a square of white, the days were short, there was much to do, and death was a temporary inconvenience. Sometimes the player dreamt it was lost in a story. Sometimes the player dreamed it was other things, other places. Sometimes these dreams were disturbing, sometimes very beautiful indeed. Sometimes the player woke from one dream into another, then woke from that into a third. Sometimes the player dreamed it watched words on a screen. Let's go back. The atoms of the player were scattered in the grass, in the universe, in the rivers, in the air, in the ground. A woman gathered the atoms. She drank and ate and inhaled, and the woman assembled the player in her body. And the player awoke from the warm, dark world of its mother's body into the long dream. And the player was a new story, never told before, written in letters of DNA, and the player was a new program, never run before, generated by a source code 1 billion years old. And the player was a new human, never alive before, made from nothing but milk and love. You are the player, the story, the program, the human, made from nothing but milk and love. Let's go further back. The 7 billion atoms of the player's body were created long before this game, in the heart of a star. So the player, too, is information from a star, and the player moves through a story, which is a force of information planted by a man called Julian, on a flat, infinite world created by a man called Marcus, that exists inside a small, private world created by the player, who inhabits a universe created by Sometimes the player created a small, private world that was soft and warm and simple, sometimes hard and cold and complicated, and sometimes it built a model of the universe in its head, flecks of energy, moving through vast empty spaces. Sometimes it called those flecks electrons and protons. Sometimes it called them planets and stars. Sometimes it believed it was in a universe that was made of energy, that was made of offs and ons, zeros and ones, lines of code. Sometimes it believed it was playing a game. Sometimes it believed it was reading words on the screen. You are the player reading words. Sometimes the player read lines of code on a screen, decoded them into words, decoded words into meaning, decoded meaning into feelings, emotions, theories, and ideas. The player started to breathe faster and deeper and realized it was alive. It was alive! And those 1,000 breaths had not been real, and the player was alive. You were alive. And sometimes the player believed the universe had spoken to it through the sunlight that came through the shuffling leaves of the summer trees. And sometimes the player believed the universe had spoken to it through the light that fell from the crisp night sky of winter, where a fleck of light in the corner of the player's eye might be a star a million times as massive as the sun, boiling its planets to plasma in order to be visible for a moment. To the player walked home in the far side of the universe, suddenly smelling food, almost a familiar door, and about to dream again. Sometimes the player believed the universe had spoken to it through zeros and ones, through the electricity of the world, through the scrolling words on the screen at the end of a dream. And the universe said, I love you. And the universe said, you have played the game well. And the universe said, everything you need is within you. And the universe said, you are stronger than you know. And the universe said, you are the daylight. And the universe said, you are the night. And the universe said, the darkness you fight is within you. And the universe said, the light you seek is within you. And the universe said, you are not alone. And the universe said, you are not separate from every other thing. Whew, this is hard on narrating. And the universe said, you are the universe, tasting itself, talking to itself, reading its own code. And the universe said, I love you because you are love. And the game was over, and the player woke up from the dream. And the player began a new dream, and the player dreamed again, dreamed better. And the player was the universe, and the player was love. You are the player. Wake up. I think we're about to get to the actual credits. Yeah, I was right. But yeah, that story has always been an epic narration in so many ways. Very deep, philosophical, and long. Minecraft credits created by Marcus Persson. Game design, programming, and graphics, Marcus Persson, aka Notch. Jens Bergensten, otherwise known Jeb. Nathan Adams, Dinnerbone, yay! He was actually in the credits this time. There's been several added since. Programming, Eric Burrows, Grum. Music and sound, Daniel Rosenfeld. I do believe that's C418. Kind of a little freeform guy there, but he works with him. In-game artwork and paintings, Christopher Zetterstrand. In-game narrative, Julian Go. The funny thing is, I think that's not always claimed these days. Or is that something else? Yeah, website development, Tobias Malmstrom, Daniel Frisk, Leonard Axelsson, Jens Bergensten, Marcus Persson. Logo and promotional artwork, Marcus, hey, another Marcus, it's not Jeb, Notch, going fast. Marcus Toivonen. Business Administration, Carl Mana, Daniel Kaplan. Director of Fun, Lydia Winters. Yes. We know her from a lot of Minecons. Number crunching and statistics, Patrick Gooder. The guy who suggested cherry trees, which still aren't here at this time that I'm doing this. Please suggest again. Additional programming, Paul Spooner, Cyan Skivilis Ichman, Elliot Hippopotamus Seagull. All these names. Developers of Mo Creatures, Horses, etc. John Olarte, Dr. Jark, Kent Christian Jensen, Dan Rogue. You remember, horses were originally added into the game by the Mo Creatures crew, including Dr. Jark himself. He helped out. Technologies used, Java by Oracle. LWJGL by many talented people. 3D sound system by Paul Lamb. J-Orbis by J-Craft. Oh yeah. That's why whenever I see a lot of crashes, I see Paul Lamb's name. That makes sense. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. It says by unknown, but that's actual by Samuel Clemens, folks. Samuel Clemens. Yes, Mark Twain said that. In case you're wondering, it was this thing that was the thing that was thrown as to an unknown. It was Mark Twain. Mark Twain said that, not unknown. Sorry, that it just gets to me that they seem to have left that off. No idea why. No idea why at all. Oh well. We're going back now. Okay. Therefore, here we go. Yep, back at Monument Tree. And it's daylight, so I can't rest it off. Oh well. Anyhow, this has been Glitch Reaper. I'll be signing off. Hope to hear from you all later. So bye for now, everybody.